Begin with local breaking news in Richmond. 2 people have died after an overnight house fire on Vinton Road. Right now at noon, fire crews and investigators are working to figure out what caused those flames. Desiree Montilla is live outside of that house. Desiree, what can you tell us in this devastating story?
Well, Kelly, firefighters cleared the scene of this house fire on Vinton Street just around 10:30 this morning, but the tragedy still remains for the family and friends who knew the man and woman who died in this home behind me. Now, I'm told that the woman and man who died were in their late 70s to mid 80s. And here's what's happened. The Richmond Fire Department tells me they first got the call around 8 o'clock this morning for the house fire. Now, when they arrived, they found gray smoke coming from the front door. Once inside, they found a fire inside the living room, and they marked it under control by 8:13, which was within 15 minutes of their arrival. They took the woman and man out of the home and they performed CPR on both of them, but sadly they did not survive. No other fire injuries were reported from this incident, and neighbors tell me they were a couple who could not hear and who just kept to themselves. Now, if you see this woman or hear her mowing the grass right over here in this home, she is actually a person who lives right across the street from this couple. She knew them very well. She said they were very nice and volunteered to help them. And I spoke with her before our noon hit, and I also spoke to another neighbor who lives across the street who considers the man his buddy from the block. I'll have more from them and the emotions they're feeling about this heartbreaking story starting on First at 4. Live and on your side in Richmond, Desiree Montilla, NBC 12
for their
News.
families right now. Thank you, Desiree. Now to our other top story. We continue tracking Ida this afternoon as the storm now heads north towards Virginia. The initial Category 4 hurricane has weakened significantly, now down to a tropical depression, but it definitely left its mark. More than 1 million people still are without power, and the death toll is slowly rising, now up to 4. That's following an overnight highway collapse in Mississippi where 10 people were hurt. That collapse leaving a 20-foot deep hole in the middle of the highway. And in Louisiana, rescue efforts for those trapped by the floodwaters were halted overnight as the city dealt with widespread power outages for a second day. In other parts of the state, even more destruction was found in daylight. Several businesses in Houma, Louisiana suffered significant damage as well. Ida is still causing dangerous flash flooding in parts of Mississippi and Alabama as it moves inland. And officials are now warning that those in the Gulf Coast who evacuated should not come back.
If you evacuated Terrebonne or Lafourche Parish, the government officials are urging you to stay where you are. Don't try to come home today. Give it a couple of days.
Now, it could be weeks for power to be restored in some areas, leaving hundreds of thousands without water. Authorities say this will be a long and massive recovery effort. Jay Gray joins us from New Orleans with the latest.
In some areas, the water still too deep, the damage too intense for teams to get in. In others, though, rescue efforts continue. Families ushered to safety.
It was kind of bad because we had the roof cave in the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room.
Vivid memories of Ida's attack haunting even 2 days after the storm.
Toward the end, I got scared because it's like I saw my house. And the rain and everything coming through this window, just ready to leave, ready to go, but couldn't go nowhere.
As crews begin to clear away what they can, pushing through the wreckage, some are worried about what they may find.
We expect there'll be more people found that have passed. Too many people always ride these storms out and take their life in their own hands.
Was my office.
The lifeline for survivors right now.
I was standing out here in like 100 and whatever mile-an-hour winds with no place to go.
Many still stunned by what's happened and what's left behind is the help that continues to pour in from across the country.
We have several hundred pallets of MREs, we have hundreds of pallets of water, hundreds of pallets of disaster boxes.
Food, equipment, supplies, and manpower, all vital as Southwest Louisiana begins what will be a long, difficult recovery. Jay Gray, NBC News, New Orleans.
All right, thank you, Jay. Well, some Virginia crews are already in New Orleans to assist in those recovery efforts. We caught up with one Red Cross volunteer named Everett Taylor as he boarded a plane yesterday. Now, he's been helping with the Red Cross for 2 years now, and this is his second hurricane that he's responded to. Everett will certainly help assess the damage on the ground and bring critical supplies to families who've lost everything at this point. For many, it's the most vulnerable time that they've ever experienced in their lives.
When you see hundreds of people coming in with pretty much everything they own because they've been wiped out. I mean, it's heartbreaking.
And also aiding in the relief effort, 200 Dominion Energy crews from Virginia and South Carolina. This is video of those line workers preparing to do the dangerous task of restoring energy to hundreds of thousands of people without power amid heavy flooding. No exact timeline on how long they'll be there, as this job is immense. Meanwhile, here in Virginia, cleanup is underway in parts of Chesterfield after thunderstorms rolled through the area last night. Some trees came crashing down while some other roadways filled up with water, and more storms could be headed our way ahead of today's Ida's arrival. And we have an update to a story that we first brought you last night regarding the woman who you see here on your screen. Police continue their investigation this afternoon, but they say they have identified that woman in the photos. They know who she is. Police discovered human remains inside a backpack. They say that she threw in a dumpster in that parking lot. Police say she dumped that bag behind a store off of Hull Street Road in Genedo yesterday afternoon. The woman did go inside the store, but then left the area. Afterward, an employee went to go check and saw that backpack, and it looked like there was blood inside. That worker called police. Again, Chesterfield police say this is an active investigation. We'll certainly keep you updated as we learn more. Moving now to our continuing coronavirus coverage. The Commonwealth continues to grapple with the spread of the Delta variant. BDH is reporting nearly 3,500 more cases overnight. That's up over 1,200 cases from Friday. The positivity rate did remain the same at 10.1%, but hospitalizations are on the rise, nearing 1,800 patients battling COVID-19. Even further, vaccinations are nearly at a standstill, hovering just under 57%. And developing now, Governor Northam has now pardoned members of an unjust execution that happened nearly 70 years ago. These are the official documents showing the pardon for the Martinsville Seven, a group of young black men executed by the Commonwealth for the alleged rape of a white woman back in 1951. Now, the documents don't address the guilt of the 7 men, but it does shed light on the overwhelming lack of due process and justice that they were afforded during their trial sentencing. Governor Northam says the pardon is about righting wrongs which occurred at a time when black defendants were not given the same due process as their white counterparts.
Accurate, reliable, breaking weather specialists. This is NBC 12 First Alert Weather.
We continue to track what's left of Ida as it makes its way toward Virginia. It's currently sitting just to the south of Nashville, Tennessee, going to make its way off to the north and east over the next 24 hours. And by this time tomorrow, we're going to be watching the remnants of that storm tracking across West Virginia and eventually up toward Pennsylvania. The heaviest rain expected to stay to our west, but tomorrow is a first alert weather day for the risk potentially of some severe weather, especially during the afternoon hours. A few tornadoes are going to be possible across central Virginia. Make sure you keep the NBC 12 First Alert Weather app handy. We will be sure to keep you posted throughout the entire day tomorrow, so make sure you're prepared for whatever Ida may throw our way. JES WeatherNet sites today in the mid and upper 80s. We're at 87 in Prince George, 85 in Richmond, and 85 in Goochland at Byrd Elementary School. These temperatures going to make it back into the upper 80s and close to that 90-degree mark as we head through the afternoon. 89 degrees by 4 o'clock. Then we do gradually cool off back into the mid-70s overnight tonight. We have one more hot and humid day, and then we start the process of cooling down as we head into the midweek. 72 for an overnight low. We have a low-end chance for an isolated storm this evening, but it looks like it's going to be a mainly dry day. And then tomorrow is that first alert weather day. Again, during the afternoon hours, we have to keep an eye to the sky for the potential of some strong and severe storms. The next big thing we're tracking, of course, is going to be that storm threat. We do have a slight level 2 out of 5 risk today for areas shaded in yellow off to the north and east of Richmond, but this looks like a fairly low threat. The forecast models really are not showing a whole lot for today, so I wouldn't be surprised if many of us go the entire day into the evening hours without seeing anything. Tomorrow looks like a much better chance for seeing scattered scattered strong to potentially severe storms all of central and southern Virginia in that slight level 2 out of 5 risk for Wednesday. The hour-by-hour forecast again for this evening at 8 o'clock. Notice not a whole lot happening outside of a couple of light rain showers to the north of I-64. Could be some stronger storms to our north and west as we head toward 10 or 11 o'clock this evening back toward Charlottesville. Then as we get into Wednesday morning, the day starts out mainly dry, but by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we could start to see those thunderstorms developing, and those will continue to make their way across the region, especially as we get toward 5 to 6 o'clock Wednesday evening. We think that's probably going to be the peak time to watch for Richmond, and then a little bit later, closer to around 7, 8, 9 o'clock in our eastern counties out toward the northern neck. By Wednesday, around 11 o'clock, we start to clear things out into Thursday morning. Total rainfall amounts likely on the order of a ½ inch to an inch for most of us, but much higher rain off to the north and west. That's where there was going to be a better chance for flooding back toward Pennsylvania. Our 7-day forecast has temperatures much cooler by Thursday into the upper 70s. Going to be a really nice forecast as we head into Labor Day weekend with mostly sunny skies, mid-80s for Saturday and Sunday, and low humidity. Going to feel like fall for us this weekend. Kelly?
All right, thank you so much, Nick. Make sure to stay with NBC 12 as we continue to bring you the latest on Tropical Storm Ida and how it might impact our forecast this week. Nick and our entire First Alert weather team will be bringing you updates on air and online and through the NBC 12 weather app. And that's a look at your headlines and the forecast. After the break, Candace is back with more 12 About Town today. And just a reminder that our Call 12 lines are open. If you've got a comment, a question, a story idea, our volunteers certainly want to hear from you. That number, 345-1212, is the number to call until 1 o'clock.